My mother-in-law won first prize for this strawberry pie recipe. And funny story, she put 2 pies in that contest and she won first and second prize. So we know this one's a winner. I'm going to show you how to make this delicious strawberry pie recipe with a cream cheese layer, and it's all vegan. Let's get started with the pie crust. Now, I am not going to pretend to be an expert on pie crust. This is Natasha's Kitchen pie crust, her butter pie crust. Instead of using butter, I simply used a country crock plant stick, or you can use an Earth Balance buttery stick, and that will work just as well. If you want to, you can use an oil pie crust, or you can just make a graham cracker pie crust, or even buy one at the store. Either way works. To make the rolling out and the moving of the pie crust to the pie pan easier, I am going to put a plastic wrap on my countertop, and that will help it not to stick to the countertop, but it will also help me move it to the pie pan without cracking it. Okay, so this is my pie crust. I think maybe I didn't put enough water in it, but we're gonna go for it. I'm gonna put another piece of plastic over the top so it doesn't stick to my rolling pin. That way I don't have to add any more flour and dry out the pie crust. Oops. Now, Natasha's recipe actually makes 2 pie crusts. And so if you go to the trouble of making pie crust, you can make both and then stick one in the freezer, or just make 2 strawberry pies, because I know people are going to love them. Let's just roll this out. You just want to roll this until it is the right size for your pie pan, which is about 9 inches. Let me see. So we need it to be a little bit wider because it's got to fit down into the pie pan. So let's keep going. You don't want your pie crust to be super thin, or your pie is going to fall apart, and you don't want that. Okay, because we rolled this out on plastic wrap, we can easily pick it up like that, and we can get it ready to move to our pie pan. Let's take off the top layer. Another trick to get it into your pie pan is to roll it over your rolling pin like that. Then you can take off the plastic wrap. Uh-oh. It's okay, we can fix it. It's not unrepairable. Let's lay it right into our pie pan. And I did not do that well. See if we can pick it up and move it a little bit. All right, that's perfect. Kind of perfect anyway. As perfect as I can make a pie. Let's put it that way. I don't always make a regular pie crust because sometimes making pie crust seems a little overwhelming, and you do not have to make a homemade pie crust like this because things do go wrong. But you can just buy a store-bought pie crust. It works out just fine, especially those crumble crusts. You could do a simple graham cracker crust. That's fine too. So don't worry about having to make a pie. And if you are really in a bind and you just don't want to make a pie and you don't want to do a pie crust, you can do what my daughter invented. She made something she called fruit buckets. And the fruit buckets were simply, we took the puff pastry dough, which is accidentally vegan, and we put it into muffin tins and made little buckets out of it, and then we filled the filling into those, and that was delicious as well. So don't you worry about a pie crust if you're not up for the fun of playing with pie dough. I think if I made pie more often, I would get better at it. Not sure who made that expression, it's easy as pie, but there's our pie crust. It looks good. We are going to pre-bake this pie crust because this is a no-bake strawberry pie. And we poke holes in the crust so that the steam can escape and we don't get bubbles in the crust. If you look online, you'll see what people tell you to use pie weights, but I don't have pie weights. I don't make pie often enough to worry about it. So I have dried beans, and that works perfectly as a pie weight. Just gonna dump them right in. And that holds the pie in place. I'm going to put this in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes until my pie crust is cooked. While the crust is cooking, we need to go ahead and prepare our strawberries. I'm going to chop mine up with my favorite Whopper chopper, but you can slice them or just cut them by hand. It's not a problem. But I find this to be a lot faster and makes everything about the same size. So to prepare the strawberries, I've washed them all off, and then I cut off their tops. My daughter was born in the first week of June, and so her birthday is the first part of strawberry season, and she always wants something strawberry for her birthday. But she has graduated from college now, and she has her first job, and she is not going to be home for her birthday this year. And she's coming home for Memorial Day, so I am making a strawberry pie as a Memorial Day birthday present for her. All we have to do is take our berries and put them right on our thingy and just go like that. So the chopping goes really fast once you got the tops off your berries. You can even put 2 or 3 in there at once if they're not like mohemoth like that. Bohemoth? All right, that's great. That gives me all the strawberries I need. One of the secrets to this pie is that we make our own pie glaze from a cup of these fresh strawberries. So I'm going to dump the strawberries into here, and I need about a cup in this pitcher here. So let's put some of those in there, and then put the rest in here for our pie. I think I have a few extras just to eat. So now I've got about a cup and a half of strawberries here. I'm going to mash them with my potato masher. I want them completely mashed up. The fresher your berries, the easier they are to mash. You can also put these in the food processor if you want to, but I don't want to get that dirty, so we're just going to do this. Once you get these all mashed up, you want to put them into a pan, and then we're going to add just a little bit of sugar. The amount of sugar you add to this really depends on your taste buds and your strawberries. If you've got super sweet, fresh strawberries, then you need a lot less sugar. If you're doing this in the middle of the winter time or something, and your strawberries aren't good, you're going to have to add more sugar. But you can add as much or as little as you like. The original recipe called for a cup of sugar, which I generally don't need that much sugar. I start with about a half a cup, and then if I need more, I'll add it. I'm going to put this on the stove and cook it until it's nice and bubbly. Now it's time to work on the last piece, and that's the cream cheese layer. Today we're going to use a vegan cream cheese. We're going to use Tofutti cream cheese, and sometimes it's hard to find. I usually find it at Whole Foods, but you can also use Kite Hill cream cheese, which is sometimes available in your local grocery store. And we just need to get that mixed up. I like to have it at room temperature. Vegan cream cheese is always a little bit thick and kind of hard to work with, so I whip it up really well at room temperature so it spreads nicely in the bottom of my pie pan. To the cream cheese, I add about a tablespoon of sugar, and I also add a tablespoon of cornstarch. The original recipe called for an egg. I'm using a cornstarch because I want this to kind of stick together. I don't want it to be all melty in the bottom of my pie pan. That is our cream cheese layer. Now that our strawberries are nice and bubbly, we're going to add in a tablespoon of cornstarch mixed with about a half a cup of water. That's just going to give it a nice thickness. We want that to come to a boil for about a minute, and that will make sure that our cornstarch is cooked and not all cloudy and pasty. All right, that looks great. That's exactly what we're looking for. This is just going to be the glaze that's going to go over our fresh strawberry. So for complete transparency, my pie crust did not come out, and so I'm going to go with a backup plan, plan B. I don't have time to make a whole new crust. I'm going to go ahead and use a store-bought graham cracker crust, and let's put our pie together. First thing I want to do is mix my strawberries into my berry sauce that we created. So I'm not going to use all of these strawberries because this store-bought pie crust is quite a bit smaller than my original pie crust. So I just want to mix this all together so that The fresh strawberries are completely coated with that red strawberry goo that we created. Doesn't that look really good? I'm going to add just a few more strawberries. We'll save those other strawberries for dinner or breakfast or something. Okay, the strawberries are ready. Let's go ahead and get our crust. So I'm stuck with the store-bought pie crust, but it's still going to be tasty. And I'm going to spread my cream cheese across the bottom of it. When I do use the store-bought crust, I do like to slightly toast it. I think giving it adds a little more flavor to it. We just want to make a nice cream cheese layer. This is going to keep the crust from getting soggy when we put on those berries, because those berries are going to start releasing all that juice, and it's going to be, and this will help soak up some of that juice. Once that's all smoothed out, we're going to add our berries to the top. Doesn't that look so good? I am going to stick this in the fridge. It'll thicken up and be cuttable, but it'll still be a little bit messy of a pie, but it's so worth it. I wanted to break in here for just a quick minute because I just talked to my mother-in-law and she says the secret to keeping this pie stuck together so it holds together in nice little pieces is to not mix the strawberries and the gel together, but to put the strawberries in the pan and pour that gel over the top and let it sink in, and that way your pie holds together and you get nice pieces in your pie. You are going to love this. I am not going to dig it into it now for my taste test because I want to serve it to my daughter. When I serve it, I'm going to serve it with some plant-based whipped cream, and I will try to get you some pictures of that and show you her eating her birthday pie. But if not, check out this video right here for some other great plant-based recipes. And if you're just thinking about going plant-based, then go ahead and download the Ultimate Guide to Going Plant-Based in the description box below.